time for a look at your West Tennessee forecast with meteorologist Brian Davis.
Welcome in, everyone, on this Friday. Yes, we are right here at 4th of July Eve, July the 3rd, and it's another hot day. We are going to have a few thunderstorms again today, kind of like we had yesterday, but the severe risk is much lower than it was yesterday. And those of you that are trying to do fireworks later tonight, because some of you do it on a Friday night, you'll be in good shape. These storms should die down, about an hour before dark here. So let's go ahead and take a look. Not everybody's going to get the rain. Most of you, again, will not get the rain as we go through the day, but it's just the storms that do develop, which is like 2 or 3 of them. They will be quite strong with heavy downpours, much like yesterday. Right now, we don't have any watches or warnings as far as any severe weather. We do have that heat advisory that will continue until 8 p.m. tomorrow night. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the live conditions here in Savannah. Beautiful right now, but if you'll remember, yesterday started out like this too around this time. Not a cloud in the sky, but that is on its way to changing a little bit later this afternoon. 91 here in Savannah. It feels like 111 degrees, and you'll know it too when you step outside. Look at that dew point. You rarely ever see dew points this high, even in West Tennessee. 81 degree dew point, 71% humidity. That's extremely dangerous. We're better off to have 100 degrees on the thermometer for an actual temperature and humidity down to like 40 to 50% by far than we are to have, even like upper 80s for temperatures and to have 70 to 80% humidity or dew points in the 80s. So you can't you can't evaporate any sweat. When you're sweating, it doesn't evaporate. It just stays on you, and the heat in your body continues to build up. So that's why you hear people getting in bad trouble with heat. But that is life-threatening heat if you're out in it very long at all, especially without taking breaks, or drinking clear liquids too. This can get you in trouble in a hurry, but extremely hot. Hopefully we'll get a few storms later today to cool it down. And those where you're closer to the storms, you will cool down later. But wow. All right, that's the hottest spot that I see right now. Let's take a look at downtown Parsons, and not quite as hot here, but that's not saying much because we got a dew point of 77, a temperature of 90 degrees, and it feels like 103 degrees out there. In Memphis, not much different, 93 degrees, a little bit higher on the actual temperature, but because the dew point is a little bit lower, it feels like 101 as opposed to like 105 or 111 like it did in Savannah. All right, let's take a look now in Paris. 91 degrees on the actual temperature, but it feels like 105 with that dew point way up there at 77. That's leading to a humidity of 63%. Looking at these temperatures and just knowing that it's still going to get a lot hotter. We're here in the early afternoon, so it's going to be its hottest once we get into the late afternoon and early evening hours. That's when we'll go into the mid-90s, and that's when these heat index numbers will go even higher. So if we don't get a storm very soon, or at least a shower to help cool us down here in Savannah, we very well could hit 115 on our heat index coming up the next couple of hours. So I can't emphasize, just use extreme caution. This will probably be, if not one of the hottest weeks of the summer, it could wind up being the hottest week of the summer, depending on the following weeks. But this is, one of those rare kind of hot situations that we get in the summer, usually only 1 or 2 times throughout a summer here. Winds, and we don't have much in the winds because that high pressure nearby, we get about 5 mile, 6 mile per hour winds. That's about it. And then when the winds aren't blowing, it is just stifling heat out there. Radar shows no precipitation Well, we do have a couple little storms just since I looked, like right in around Jackson. So this will help to cool you down there in North Jackson. Those are just basically sitting stationary, not moving, just kind of popping up. Bethel Springs, a little shower popping up there. That'll probably become a thunderstorm very soon, and down in and around Corinth. But overall, 30% probability today. Not many of us will get storms, but like I say, the storms that do develop will have some heavy downpours. But you can see, compared to all of West Tennessee, we're not seeing much out there right now. All right, let's take a look at our weather map. Heat wave continues. High pressure is a little further to the east, at least the center of the high, than it was yesterday. So that's going to allow a little bit more in the line of thunderstorms over the region. But here in West Tennessee, I think we're going to have overall a little bit less throughout our West Tennessee area than we had yesterday. And severe threat is just encompassing our eastern counties. We'll zoom in on that here in a moment. And then for tomorrow, all eyes on the 4th of July. There is no severe threat right now. It's to the north of us. But let's zoom in. Here's a look at today. We've got that just the eastern counties that are included in a much lower risk than we had yesterday. Most of the area was in a yellow 2 out of 5 yesterday. Today, it's just the eastern fringe counties, and we're in that 1 out of 5. So overall, lesser chances of getting that severe thunderstorm. And a couple of you did get severe storms. And by the way, we had lots of wind damage reports over parts of Henry, Benton, and Carroll County yesterday. Yes, several trees down. Those came in well after the storm. So we kind of talked about that in the last update, but we had quite a few large trees down, some power lines. We had a roof blown off of a barn there in Benton County. So it was quite windy with some of those storms that moved through that region yesterday. All right, looking at Futurecast, it's kind of on to this, showing a few isolated storms. There you can see not much of West Tennessee gets the storms in the afternoon, but a few of us will, and it'll be some heavy downpours. The main threat would be some damaging wind gusts, much like we had yesterday. But it's mainly in the later afternoon and evening hours, and we'll see another round just like that for the 4th of July, but just a few more of those coming in for tomorrow. Again, I think fireworks will be good for go. I think most of any storms will be out of here by dark. But we're looking at the hourly for the rest of this afternoon and evening. Upper 90s as we head into 1, 2 o'clock hour, about 96. We'll still be at 94 at 5. And then talking about 82 at 9 p.m. And again, this is more for those of us that do not get the storms. If you luck out, like there in North Jackson, if you get that storm a little bit earlier in the afternoon today, you're going to be a little bit cooler than what was being shown here. And that will be the case for a few areas. But overall, here's your hourly forecast. Notice the rain chance goes up a little bit there into the mid to late afternoon, evening hours, between about 20 to the 30% range there. And then it starts to drop back off as we head into the evening hours. Of course, a heat advisory will stay in effect. Let's look at the 4th of July. No changes on this. Most of the showers and storms will come in the early to late afternoon tomorrow. I think the storms will be out of here by fireworks time, so don't worry too much about that. But just tomorrow, if you're out on the lake or out at the parks or out in the field for that matter, if you hear the thunder, go indoors, let the thunderstorm kind of blow on by, and then you can return to whatever you were doing. But everybody be safe. Let's be careful this holiday season. We've got some extreme heat and we've got some lightning that's going to be scattered around, so everybody use common sense and caution so that we don't hear of anybody getting hurt. And be careful with those fireworks. I've got to go today and get mine. I was supposed to get them tomorrow or yesterday, but the storms held me back. I had to be in the studio, so we just put it off till today. But hope everybody is having a good 4th of July weekend. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast being brought to us by Big Bang Fireworks of Milan. They have 2 locations in Milan to serve you. Look them up on the web. It's bigbangfireworks.com, and you'll look at all the address locations. They've also got a location in McKenzie next to Dairy Queen. They got one at Van Hook Street and also North First Street. I believe it's 5020 North First Street, but you can look them up on Facebook or online. They've got a website there, and it'll tell you all about them. They will absolutely make sure you walk away with the best fireworks show for your budget, even if that means throwing a few things in sometimes. All right, so there you go. Showers and thunderstorms about 30% today, 40% tomorrow, meaning that still most of the area will not get storms, but there'll be a few more around again tomorrow. In fact, 4th of July will be a lot like yesterday. We'll have a few storms. A couple of those could, bring a tree or two down in the afternoon. If you're in a safe place when they come through, you'll be just fine. When those storms get by, then you can go right back out about an hour later and continue with your 4th of July activities. That'll be another chance on Sunday at about 50%. 50% on Monday, and then notice our temperatures finally return to the low 90s and upper 80s. That'll be very welcome after all of this extreme heat that we have had this week. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. I've got to go get fireworks. I'm running behind. I've got family get-together going to be taking place. You'll probably see some in-studio guests here at the studio. And so that's what we're doing. Hope you're having a good 4th as well. Again, take plenty of breaks out there in the heat lighting those fireworks today. Drink plenty of clear liquids. Remember, caffeinated beverages, they only dehydrate you more. They give you the false sensation that you're getting something to drink. And the thing is, the caffeine almost cancels out any benefits of drinking that soda. So what I do, I like sodas. So what I do is I make sure I drink a big tall glass of water in between some of those caffeinated beverages. That way I know I'm getting the appropriate amount of liquids and water that I'm supposed to. All right, so you do that as well. Enjoy it. Have a soda or two, but make sure you're drinking a big tall glass of water in between as well, especially in this heat. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Take care.
We are West Tennessee Weather Channel.